Hi, I hope everyone's enjoying the 2-week period for Module 6. Just as a reminder, I sent out an email earlier saying that you have until the end of this week, so that's Sunday the 22nd, to make your initial discussion board post for Module 6, and then you'll have until the next Sunday, which would be Sunday the November 29th, to make your response post. So because of the Thanksgiving holiday, you actually have 2 weeks to complete Module 6. Which is good because fiscal policy and monetary policy can take a little time to digest if it's the first time you're being exposed to it. So I will not be sending a video next week. Everyone should have their exams graded, the midterm exam, and in general the exams were pretty good. I appreciated the in-depth responses that were given to the questions. A couple of comments where points were taken off. One of the points that was frequently missed was around negative externalities. When you're asked to describe some of the negative externalities, remember that negative externalities are those that affect a third party. If the effect is on the people themselves that are involved in the transaction, then that wouldn't count as an externality. So for example, some of you mentioned that the health effects of smoking on the individual who smokes was a negative externality. That would not be true, because the person who's smoking, they are the ones who are participating in the transactions. The negative externalities would be the effects that it might have on someone else. So if you rent a car and the person who smoked wasn't driving the car before you, you had no part of that transaction, and so unfortunately, you might get into a car that smells like smoke. That's an example of a negative externality. Is it truly a third party who had nothing to do with either the production or consumption of cigarettes? So just keep that in mind with negative externalities. The other one that people seem to miss was around whether or not alcohol and tobacco were substitutes or complements. And you could take either position. There is not a clear-cut answer from the literature whether or not people substitute alcohol and cigarettes or whether they're complementary. In other words, they enjoy them together. But if you took a stand, I wanted you to make sure that you defended it, so you could explain why the two goods were substitutes and what that meant. And if you didn't take a position, that's fine too, but again, I wanted you to explain what exactly those definitions were. So just keep that in mind as you're going to do the final exam. The final exam, which won't be next week, it'll be the week after, we'll have a similar format in which you'll read a Harvard business case. There's a link that's available in Module 7 where you can go, and unfortunately you have to pay, I think, $3.95 for the case. But it's a great case. It's on Obamacare, and given the discussion in the news, just yesterday, United Healthcare announced that they might consider dropping out of the exchanges next year. So there's a lot of great discussion about, of course, the Affordable Care Act, and it's particularly relevant to the topic that we're covering. So that exam, you'll have to download the case, and then there'll be a series of questions, again, that you answer just like you did for the midterm exam. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. So discussion board 6 post will be due next Sunday, and a couple more comments. Most people are doing a very good job of answering the questions, as they're stated, but I want to make sure that you're spending a little more time connecting the questions together and thinking about how it would apply to your work. So most of you are doing exactly what's being asked, but I want you to think a little bit more about how to apply it and what it means for your situation. And there are a couple examples of people who did that really well in discussion board 5. This was the one where you had to pick a particular product, and then you looked at how the price changes happened over time and compared that to different inflation measures. One of the things to remember is that just because prices are going up, it might not be because of inflation. It could be because of changes in supply and demand. So one of the things that we saw a few weeks ago was that, of course, as demand increases or supply decreases, that can have an effect on prices increasing. And so there's a temptation to say, well, I might want to match my prices with what's going on in the markets regarding inflation, but you want to think a little deeper than that and think about what are those underlying characteristics, what's going on with consumer demand, what's going on with supply, what are those things that actually could be driving prices, and not just inflation itself. So think a little bit about how you might answer discussion board 6. It's sort of the last chance before we go into the last week to really think about the questions and try to make some applications to work. But generally, I think the discussion board posts have been going pretty well. Please continue to write. Quite a few of you send me emails about homework questions. If you do get stuck on a question, please reach out to me. Again, I respond within a business day. I want to make sure you understand the material, so don't be hesitant to either give me a phone call or if you're in Cincinnati, come to my office hours. But otherwise, please enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. Wish you and your families well, and then I will probably send another video email that last week of class. So, all right, take care. Bye.